stream. I actually wanted to not do it because I'm working in the bathroom. So yesterday, my bathroom window, I have like a big bathroom window, like what it is like 1.5 meter wide. And while I was like working around on it, this whole thing fell out. And yeah, I caught the window, but it almost pulled me off the roof. So now I have this like huge hole inside the roof, and I've been working on the window in an attempt to fix it, but it's not so easy. Trying to fix like a window of that size, yeah, I've been. It has these rivets that held it in place that originally were like when that window was put up, that was maybe 30 years ago. So after the time, like after the years, the rivets broke off one after the other. So I eventually ended up with no rivets. And yesterday, when I wiggled around on the window, it just fell. I suddenly had the whole window in my hand. It almost pulled me off the roof, but I was able to kind of drop it into the bathtub. So now I have a huge window inside my bathroom, and I need to find a way to close that hole because it's been freezing tonight. We had freezing temperatures. I want to get a little piece of styrofoam that will be a difficult job. Yeah, I'm really struggling with this because replacing a window of that size, it's going to be expensive. So I had hoped that I can replace it myself, but it isn't looking so good. I started drilling out the old rivets that are inside the window, and I got them out a little bit, but I have doubt that if I put new rivets in that thing, it will hold. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I might not be able to do a long live stream, but I wanted to at least go online a little bit just to explain the situation, what's going on. I've been talking with all kinds of different like window companies to close that window, that hole in the wall that I now have. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. I'm not really good at handyman stuff, working with my hands, so I'm doing my best to replace that thing, but we'll see how it goes. Hey mate, greetings to Brazil. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was just doing a little, introduction, saying I might have to do like the live stream a little bit later, but I wanted to come online now to just tell you guys what's going on. Yeah, I was just in my bathroom yesterday, and suddenly I was wiggling around on the bathroom window, and the bathroom window fell out. It just came down, and this is one of these windows that you have in the roof, like in the wall of the roof. So now I have a pretty big hole in my roof, and I need to replace it. Hey Maria. But yeah, it's going pretty rough right now. Tonight it was close to freezing temperatures in my bathroom, and yeah, later today we will get a piece of styrofoam just cut to the size of the hole that we have in the window now, until we can get a new window maybe. But putting in a new bathroom window of that size, it's going to be expensive. So yeah, being a homeowner isn't easy, if I were a renter, you just say, okay, I expect for the money that I pay, I expect to have a warm house, warm water, and yeah, that's it. But when you own a house, you need to make sure it doesn't fall apart. Bathroom window is kind of important. So that will be my job for today. I've been working on it the whole morning. trying to drill a hole, like just trying to drill the rivet out because the old rivets broke. But it isn't easy to just drill the rivet out without completely damaging this whole thing. So you can later put in new rivets for the window. Yeah, I've been messaging a company to ask for replacement parts, for spare parts, and these guys were so unfriendly. Guy sent me a message writing, "I do not know what you are talking about." That what was the reply of the window repair company. I have another window company that wants to come by next week sometime. So, and we are going into winter now. We're just lucky that the temperatures aren't freezing right now, but it's still cold, you know. Every time I'm going into the bathroom at night, I gotta put on the ski jacket, the ski jacket, you know. So yeah. But apart from that, here I am, guys. I appreciate you coming in. Today the live stream has been a lot more busy than usually, so I appreciate you checking in, everyone. Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, it's part of being a homeowner. You know, I could live with just a small apartment. I think I always wanted to just live in a tiny place somewhere in the city. I don't need a lot of space. But yeah, I have that house that that is family, that has a lot of family history attached to it. So it's not so easy. You don't want to get rid of it too, you know. But it's a little bit more than one person can handle sometimes. Hey guys, seeing more and more people joining the chat, and I love it. Thank you for joining in. But yeah, I've had that house since I was a young adult, since I was a young man, and I often struggled a little bit with it because you have to learn everything. You can't say you are not doing that or you are not working. Like everything needs to be repaired at some point, or you need to do some work on the house, and you cannot say no, because if you say no, then your house will deteriorate. You will at some point live in a dump. So I need to do my best to do everything, and it isn't easy sometimes. Like in this case, that window weighs maybe 100 pounds, maybe more, and you need to do it on the roof. So I don't think I can do it alone. Might have to get in a window company that helps. But yeah, I almost didn't make it to the chat. So, but I'm here now. So if you guys have any questions, send them in. And yeah, I even considered doing a live stream from the bathroom, working on the window, but right now we can't really do anything. We still need the parts, and I'm waiting for all kinds of people to get back to me so we know what we need, or if we really need to replace the whole window, or if we can just fix it. Fixing it would obviously be the easiest thing, but that's a 30-year-old window, and maybe it can't be replaced. We'll have to see. Yeah, and of course, you know, I was in contact with a window company, and of course they want to replace the whole window because it earns them more money. So I gotta be a little bit careful, because if you replace a window of that size, it costs you a good 2,000 euro, maybe 1.5. I would much rather try to repair it myself, but that manufacturer is out of business by now. Like I said, it's a 30-year-old window model, and that company has been gone. I think they had to put out like a recall kind of thing because of exactly that kind of problem that I had, where the rivets broke eventually. So yeah, trying to do some work on the window today, but I'm not sure if I can. We might have to wait until we have all the spare parts, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's how it is sometimes. You can't always, I don't know. I'm just, when you own a house, something always breaks, you know, and I'm at a point where it really starts to, it wears you down, you know, because you always have to do something, and you can never work. You always have to work in between the other work that you already do. It's not my job to be a homeowner. It's just something. I've had that house since 25 years, I think, at least. And the longer I have it, the more likely it is that stuff needs to be replaced. And replacing everything you replace, it costs a lot of money. And cactus breeders don't really earn a lot, you know. That's so. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, apart from that, everything is all right. Just Mika and Kami are a little bit annoyed because there's constantly loud noises coming from the bathroom, or random people coming to visit, and they aren't used to it. So yeah, we're kind of, it's an unusual situation. We'll need a little bit of time to get used to it. But that's how it is, you know. But yeah, how's it going with you guys? Everything all right? I want to continue with sewing out a little bit, maybe just 20 minutes or so, and then I'll do another live stream in the evening, just so I have a little bit more time to focus on everything, to focus on the work that needs to be done. Because if I can't solve the problem, we will have a cold bathroom tonight, and yeah, need to fix it. It's just my job. I need to make sure that the house is warm and everything. Hey, good day. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. So yeah, let's continue sowing out. I have a little bit more soil here. I wanted to sow out some more yesterday, but it really wasn't. It wasn't possible. We were talking about all these other things yesterday, and it was fun. Had a lot of fun yesterday in the live stream. Okay, let's see. Okay. So maybe we're doing something like 10 containers today. Nothing more. Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was like kind of, you know, I try to, I don't know, I intentionally want to keep these live streams in a way where I'm happy to comment on all kinds of stuff. I don't want to like limit my live stream to just cactus stuff. I'm happy. I feel like I have a little bit of life experience now. So I'm always happy to chat about God and the world, about everything. And I enjoyed that a lot yesterday, you know. But yeah, I also try to not let it get too political. But it's difficult because today everything is political, you know. Everything kind of touches on that. So no matter what you say, at some point you will say something that also borders to political discussion, and I'm always trying to walk a fine line in between. Yeah, I just like camouflage. I don't know. I like that that kind of Bundeswehr army vibe. Some of the stuff looks really good even today, but I mean, it's not, you know, it's not something that I dress, how I dress when I go away, but it's for the garden. This is something that's great. I don't have to be well dressed in the garden. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I like that stuff too. and some of that was really good quality. The stuff they used for the army, for the German army, like Bundeswehr, that stuff was really well made. Can still wear that today. It's a timeless kind of stuff. But I feel like, you know, it gets a bad reputation because there are so many different kind of people who wear camouflage, and not all of them are like, I don't know. There are also some people that give it a bad reputation, you know. Yeah, 6 degrees in the morning. I mean, we had, I don't know, it was around that range, but it still felt really cold. When you would be surprised how cold it gets inside a house when you suddenly no longer have a bathroom window. What substrate I'm using? I'm currently using cemetery soil, and that is a soil that is used by, I think, Vladi Yassan has used something like that for a while. I'm not sure if he still uses it. That's the breeder who made Sunny, that hybrid. And I think he mixes it with coconut fiber. And I wanted to experiment with it because it's a soil that is fairly resistant to being overgrown by weeds. It's made to not be overgrown on the cemetery. So all kinds of weeds have a hard time growing in it. And also it is a little bit more resistant to pests, all kinds of problems, fungal infections. It is very hard for this soil to be completely overgrown by something. Even if you have a fungal infection in the medium, it often can spread. But I think the next time I'm buying soil, I will get back to classic sowing soil. Yes, this soil is organic. I mean, it probably has a fertilizer, but like I think it's just peat to a high degree. And since that is alone a little bit too organic, sometimes you can mix it up with coconut fiber, for example. But the more you grow, the longer you are a breeder, the more you know that you can work with everything. You just have to adapt your watering. So I wanted to experiment with it because I've been experimenting with all kinds of soils just to see how it goes. And in the first months that we're using it now, it's been going good. But I also think it might be a little bit too difficult for beginners who watch the stream and want to replicate it. So yeah, we might get back to classic sowing soil because that is often the best way to work. The soil is similar in composition. It sometimes has a little bit of sand mixed in, a little bit of sometimes styrofoam, like that perlite, that kind of stuff, just to improve the drainage. And but basically it's a very similar soil. So that's why I thought I could replace it. And right now the seedlings are all looking great. I haven't seen one container where we had real problems, but it can happen. Yeah, I would love to plant out some cacti here, but the weather is too wet, too humid. It rains too much. The problem isn't the temperature, it's the constant rain that we sometimes have, the constant humidity. I have planted out many different kind of cacti in my life, also some that are frost hardy, but you need to make sure that they stay free, that weeds do not overgrow them. You need to keep them completely free, maybe in a rock garden, maybe with gravel, that kind of stuff. And even then the constant rain makes it difficult here, so you probably would have to cover it at least in winter. So it's not so easy. There are some frost hardy cacti that I could plant here, My grandmother has a few Opuntia. I think Opuntia fecanta that I gave to her, that she has in the garden, and that is pretty cold hardy, and they do well. But also a lot of weeding that needs to be done to make sure that the surrounding plants don't come up. Yeah, I mean, frost hardy cacti are Opuntia, I think Coruno Opuntia, then some Escobaria, I think, are frost hardy. Some Echinocereus can take the frost. I have a few Echinocereus that I have. They are not in the garden, but they are outside under a roof. Having a roof really helps. When they are, most of these frost hardy cacti, they can take the cold temperatures, but if they are wet all the time, they are in trouble too. But yeah, I experimented a lot with planting out too. Okay, so I want to continue to sow out a little. Hey Dave, yeah, Trichocereus terschecki is a relatively cold hardy species. I think in the genus it's the most cold hardy one. In tests, maybe down to -8 Celsius. But the moment you go below -5 Celsius, you're already in dangerous territory. It depends on the health of the plant. Not all of them take it equally well. They need to be slowly adjusted to it. You need to harden them up a little bit, but theoretically, terschecki can take a lot of cold temperatures, but they need to be dry. Oreocereus is a little cold hardy too. I think they take down to -12 Celsius, something like that, but roughly, you know. And at some point they get in trouble too. They need to be dry, completely dry. If you have a rock garden and you cover them, I mean, if you cover them like with a tarp or something like that, you always have the problems that it creates humidity below it. Sometimes it's good if you have a little roof above them, but it depends on what kind of, like, on the setup, on the climate at your place, on the amount of rain that comes down, you know. Sometimes they do well without a roof, sometimes not. I mean, if you plant them in a rock garden, there's not really, usually people who plant the rock garden don't build a roof over it, but sometimes it's good if you can, you know, protect them. If the temperature, if the rain, if you have like a whole month of rain, sometimes it can be good to put a little roof over them, maybe portable roof, something like that. But a lot of cacti can take it without, as long as the drainage is good. Rock garden has a different drainage than when you have a lawn, like grassland. It is very difficult for any kind of cactus to survive in a grassland, even if they are cold hardy. Saguaros get a fair amount of snow sometimes. When it's suddenly starting to snow, the snow even adds a layer of insulation. Snow isn't something that causes a lot of cold damage. It's rather the opposite. Snow can protect the cacti from the temperature that come down during the night. So I've often had snow on my cacti, and in most cases they will be all right. But of course, if you have snow, sometimes then you have rain, then you have snow again, then you have rain again. So if you have like these constantly changing conditions, then it can cause damage. It's what happened in spring. Last spring, when I brought my cacti out a little bit too early, we suddenly got a late snow, and the snow kept like changing in between snow and rain. So at some point you lose a few. But in general, snow isn't a bad thing all the time. It can protect them. It can add a layer of insulation from cold winds, cold nights. So, okay. So let me write the label here. I'm not sure what that says. This is a cross by Uwe Kahle from 2023. 183 Phi. Phi crossed with Goldrose. That sounds like an interesting hybrid. Maybe I will plant 2 of these. Okay. So yeah, and in case, it can always happen that someone rings the bell here. I have called a few repairmen for the window. So if I suddenly have to leave the chat, then I will continue later. But if not, we will just sew out now. But yeah, I can tell you, being a homeowner this year, I have never thought about selling the house and moving elsewhere like I do right now. Because when you have a home that is yours, you often live in conditions that are a little bit worse than conditions you would take if you were a renter. If you pay rent, you just expect something for your money. If you pay rent, you can tell the landlord or whatever. You can tell them, hey man, repair the heater. Hey man, repair the bathroom window. But when you own something yourself, you gotta do it, or you live in terrible conditions, you know, and sometimes it costs a lot of money. So I have never thought so often about selling the house and moving away like I do now. I've seriously considered it in the last few days. Moving abroad, moving elsewhere. It might happen sooner than I thought it would. We'll see how it goes, but not really happy with everything, you know. It's always where I live a little bit off grid, in like almost in the forest. So everything you have here, you need to transport here. If you need like a delivery, let's say you're getting wood for your oven, wood to heat in winter, you need to transport it up to the house, carry it up the stairs. That's a lot of work here. At some point when I get older, I'm not seeing myself doing that when I'm 60 or so, you know. It's my grandparents, they used to live, like when they used to live here, at some point they had to move away just because it was too hard to always go shopping, like carry everything up, heat the house in winter. No matter how you heat it, you need to get it up here. But on the other hand, this place allows me to do my cactus stuff, you know. So it's a hard choice that I got to make. It's a really hard choice. Things need to either get a lot easier soon, or I will move away. I will sell the house and move away. I'm tired of this. And it would be very difficult to do my breeding at another place the way I used to do it, you know? Yes, thank you. We'll see how it goes. On one hand, it is important that you have space. I have a lot of space here. I could build like 10 greenhouses if I wanted to. But on the other hand, everything's so hard where I live. Everything needs to be like when I built the greenhouses, I had to get up like 500 kilos of gravel to the house, to the side. And that had to be done mostly by hand, you know? So I don't know, not seeing this long term. But when you rent a home, it is also not easy to rent a home where you can continue to breed, you know, like being a cactus breeder. Wherever I would move, it would need to be comparable in regards to the cactus stuff. I would need to have space for the greenhouses. Yeah, it's probably like someone wrote that it's probably harder when you have to pay rent. Yeah, on one hand, that I agree. On one hand, that's right. But on the other hand, you know, when you're a homeowner, you're always one big repair away from a really huge problem. Like if something like a heater would break, you are instantly a few thousand that you have to pay. You know, so it has positives, it has good sides and bad sides, you know. Yeah, hey Bill, I'm not really like faithful, you know. I'm not really religious, but thank you for the recommendation. I appreciate it, you know. I'm more spiritual than I am religious. Maria asked if I know the breeder ASD. Yeah, that's Andreas Shogadilla. I know him. We've been in touch a few times. He sent me some seeds and I'm growing some of his plants. But I haven't spoken to him in years. I think I bought one of his hybrids. That Annabella or Arabella kind of hybrid, that insanely beautiful Gräser hybrid with the colorful flowers. He's a great breeder. He's probably one of the best breeders. Also because he realized realized that these Gräser hybrids, they often need to be worked from the side of the father. I think if I remember correctly, and I might be wrong, but if I remember correctly, he brought in the color of the Wörlitz hybrid from side of the father. Or something like that. But he definitely knew that some of these Gräser hybrids are self-fertile. So he chose the right plants to work with and picked the right parents for it, you know? Hey, mate. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, I mean, I sold my car a while ago. I used to have a car, and every time, and I didn't need it so often. So every time I wanted to start it, it wouldn't start because I hadn't used it in a while, in a couple of weeks or so. So I got rid of it. But yeah, if I had a car now, I would probably not be able to afford it, like just the insurance kind of stuff. So I'm on one hand, I'm currently a little bit glad that I don't have one. But at some point, I will definitely get me one again when things with the channel are a little bit bigger, you know. We're just growing and growing and growing, and at some point I can see myself getting another car. But you need to use it, and I was just not using it often enough. I have trouble walking, you know, so I don't drive around so often, you know. Yeah, Dave. Dave wrote that he took the day off to fix something in the bathroom or something like that. Yeah. I can't tell you how devastated I am right now, just because something simple like a bathroom window, you know. I had tonight I put a top over the hole that I now have in the roof, but it's been close to freezing, you know, and a few times I felt like I might have some kind of like bad in the bathroom, you know. So being a homeowner, you need to be able to fix it, or you have to have a lot of money to fix it, to let someone fix it. And I don't have that, so I hope I can fix it myself, but it's not looking good. That kind of Windows thing, like that attachment that you put where the window is screwed on. They aren't building that anymore, so I might have to replace the whole window, and that costs in the thousands, like maybe $1,000 I expect, and I hate it. And I'm like, this morning I was like, oh my god, I can't take this anymore, you know. Like, there's always something new that breaks that you need to fix. And I know a lot of people, you know how it is with all these like landlords that rent, that just earn money by renting out. When you are someone who just owns a little house, an old house, and you live in it yourself, it's a completely different situation. You're just as poor as the people who pay rent, you know. So I mean, if I at the people who can afford to rent out like 10 houses, for them that's not a problem, you know. But if you're someone like me, I have no interest in owning multiple properties, that kind of stuff. I would be happy with my house and everything done and working, you know. But that's often not the case. You have to replace so much stuff, and I don't know. I just try my best to get used to all the tools that I have, like a drill bit. I just brought out the drill bit to drill holes into the, like, to get the old rivets out of the window frame. And I'm not the type of person who is like that. There are people who love that, and I'm not. Everything I do, everything I repair, I need to teach myself. I haven't had that kind of father figure who always put me aside and taught me these things. I would have loved if I had that. My father is a very complicated man. He's still alive, but my father hasn't been here in 20 years or so. He's just, I don't know, a different kind of father. You know, he was a little bit absent, but every time I needed help, he would help me. You know, it's not that he wasn't there totally, but I kind of grew up without the father figure, and I always wanted to have that. So I sometimes try to be that for other people. I try to help others, and yeah, because I know how hard it is to just be thrown into this world and figure out everything yourself. I always had problem with that, you know. I know that channel. We've talked a little bit in the comments every now and then, you know. But I don't really watch a lot of videos, you know, apart from a few people that I just see by every now and then, you know, where I try to support them because I know them, because nobody is watching their videos. I think his channel is doing fairly well. That is a subject that is fairly popular, and I'm happy for him. So we have been in contact every now and then, and it's a great dude, nice, very nice person. We've chatted a little bit here and there, you know, but not really. I'm not really in contact with a lot of other channels right now because I lack the time to just watch other content. I'm just doing my thing, trying to be, like, I don't know, unique, trying to be my own kind of thing. So I don't really want to watch anything and copy that, or I don't know. And right now with the cacti, I'm at a point where in my private time, I don't watch cactus content, you know, because I see it most of the day. It's basically my work for a large part of the day. When I have spare time, I watch videos. I watch YouTube channels about Masters of the Universe toys. thrifting, like where people go into thrift stores and look for old vintage clothes, that kind of stuff. That is what I watch in my private time. I don't watch any cactus content anymore, like in my private, when I have a little bit time, you know. It's my job now, and I enjoy my job. I love my job, but at some point you need to also watch something else, you know. Yesterday evening I watched videos about window repair, you know. That was what I did yesterday. But yeah, I like Precocerois. I saw that Jeremy is working on his YouTube channel. Check him out. I mean, most of you probably know him. Precocerois is the name of the channel. Jeremy is a great guy. I love his channel. I love his page. I stopped like interacting with other pages because I realized I was just sitting there and wasting time. But he's a great guy. I really recommend what he does, and I hope he succeeds on YouTube too. It takes a little bit of time to grow the channel, but I'm sure he will manage it, no problem. He's a great guy. He's a good character, lovely guy, and I'm sure he will make it. You know, if you would ask me about like what kind of channel I would watch, that's the kind of stuff that I would watch. Just when a person is a good character, you know, the stuff with the cacti is of course that's important too, you know, but it also plays a part what kind of a person you are. I feel like it makes it a lot easier on sites like YouTube to succeed if you are just an interesting guy. That's my opinion. So yeah, and also, you know, there's so many people who create these pages now or create channels, and it is so hard. So maybe in the future we will just invite a few of them, just bring them in the live stream every now and then. That is my idea for the future. Just having like, I want to use the platform that I have also to talk about what others do, help them a little bit, because right now I don't feel like these kinds of channels or pages get a lot of help from the platform themselves. I've been putting Instagram on blast a lot lately because I feel they completely fail at showing this kind of content, the plant content, the cactus content. If something goes viral, it is often a page that just steals the videos from the creators and copies them. And yeah, that is why I decided if I can, I want to also bring in other people to just talk about them, have a chat with them in the live stream. So yeah, I'm always open to that kind of thing. I want to do that more often in the future. I've been running my Instagram page for 8 years now, 7, 8 years. I'm not sure how long. And if it were just for the cactus stuff, it would barely grow. And I think they completely fail at running that platform. I'm not sure what they are doing on Instagram, but it really isn't taking care of the platform. It feels like the platform has gotten worse over the years. And now that we have that AI stuff, it is even becoming worse. So I would love to see that in the future, they kind of change the algorithm to make it easier for new creators, new pages to grow. Because the way they did it in the past, you keep posting great stuff and they show it to nobody. I find it a really sad thing, because there's so much great stuff out there, and it's pages where the posts have been liked by 20 people, 10 people, and it's great stuff. It's really good videos, you know. So but it has gotten a little bit better with they did an update just recently, so there was some progress, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it on Instagram, and I'm not seeing it on YouTube. I also haven't seen it on TikTok. I mean, they are making, like, they're promoting these videos where you make fun, where you sing, that kind of stuff. But the really handwork kind of stuff, I'm not seeing them promoting that the way they should. And I was always disappointed in that, you know. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe in the future we will invite other pages. Someone, maybe we're doing like that kind of stuff where we interview someone, where we just have a chat on camera in the live stream. I really feel like that is something that could be interesting, because I would love to hear more about the people who run the page than just the plan stuff. Sometimes it is a lot more interesting what goes on behind the camera, what makes this whole thing work. And I believe a lot of these people haven't realized it yet. If they would talk more about who they are, they would be even more successful. Because we are people, and we are interested in other people, finding interesting characters. Yeah, someone writing they see the stories but nothing in the timeline, and that is exactly what I mean. They want people to pay them for advertising. That is all it is. They want people to pay for clicks. They don't want to give natural reach. They don't want to give that stuff for free. They want people to pay for it. But what they forget is when a platform when a platform doesn't bring you any further, no matter what you do, if you have a shop or if you have a channel, if you have a page, and if what you post is not seen by anyone, it makes no sense to continue posting there. That is why so many people are now on YouTube posting long form content, you know, because that is the type of stuff that is somewhat allows you to make a living, you know, because that it has become so hard to grow on platforms like Instagram and Facebook. And I say that as someone, I have a lot of success on Facebook and Instagram, but I have completely moved away from planning with them. The way I plan on YouTube. I do my work here. It is my daily butter and bread, my daily butter and bread and that stuff, you know. But I'm not planning with Facebook anymore. I'm not planning with Instagram. If it works, if you succeed there, it comes as a plus, but you cannot rely on it. Hey, Robert, good morning. Yeah, good night. If you fall asleep, good night. I try not to scream so much. I always try to be heard, you know. I'm trying to have walk the middle ground between screaming and having a comfortable environment here where people can chill. Oh, happy birthday, Dave. I didn't know it's your birthday. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you, Maria. That is why I do that. I just enjoy being being in chat with everyone, you know, talking. So yeah. So let's continue to sell out a little bit. I have these seeds here that I got from Uwe, and they are great. I mean, I don't know I don't know the mother. So this is the label. I can't read this. I think it means fee, an F with two I's, but I'm not sure. And I don't know that plant. I'm not sure if it's good, but the way I know Uwe, it's probably great. So what do you have planned for the birthday today, Dave? What's going on the birthday? Do you have anything planned? So yeah, let's throw out another one. Okay, one more, and then I'll leave a little bit of the seeds in the bag. I will do the rest later. Okay. All right, let's write the label. Family meal. Okay. Yeah, so that sounds like, I mean, I hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a nice meal and all. I don't know. I'm not that kind of family kind of person. I wish I was. I kind of regret not having been to more family dinners in the last 10 years, you know. I was I got married, and when I got married, I felt like I'm starting a family of my own. And look at me now. I mean, I'm getting divorced now, and I wish I had spent more time with my family in the last 10 years, you know? I do not know anyone who runs that. Trichocero is UK. I have no idea who that is. Maybe I know him, but I do not know that he runs the page. But yeah, someone asking if I'm a World War II veteran. I am not. I'm not. My grandfather was a veteran, like, but I am not. You know, I'm glad that I was spared going to war. You know, I have seen the horrors of the war just from all the relatives that are missing today, that haven't been around when I grew up. You know, I got to know my grandfather, who like he was in like in World War II, like all of the Germans. You know, there wasn't really saying no. They would have dragged you out of the house. Um, and there were a large part of my family that wasn't there, like that I only knew from photos on the wall after the Second World War. And the way I grew up, I'm a I'm a firm, like, I believe in peace, you know. I don't believe in war. So luckily, you know. Yeah, I'm not that old. I'm like moving towards 50, but I have lived a rough life. I feel like I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not sure how long I will do this, you know. The way I lived, I've had to struggle really hard for a very long time. And when you live in such conditions, like living poor, I grew up like, at some point in my life I was really poor, and these 10 years or so, they let me age a lot faster. I feel like I'm ancient today. But yeah, it is, you know, you can't choose your life, you know. We gotta accept it. I mean, now looking back, it kind of worked out in a way. It kind of led me to where I am now, being able to have that chat with people that watch my videos in that form. It worked out, but I also, I'm sure it cost me a lot of years just living rough like that, living without a heater. There were years when I almost froze in winter. There were years when I haven't wasn't able to eat, when I couldn't afford food, you know, and that lets you age faster. I feel very old, but yeah, not so old that I like like my grandfather. Luckily, he would be. I'm sure he would be around, I don't know, 95 now, something like that. No, he probably would be older, over 100, I think, but I'm not sure. He was a young man during the Second World War. So yeah, it's not so easy in life. We don't choose our path. We just have to, I don't know, take it. Be able to. Sometimes we go through these times, and these times are sometimes good for character. Having to struggle hard also builds character. I believe in that. But at some point you need to also be able to recover again. And it's been going rough for very long. So yeah. Okay. So now I've sown 3 of these. Yeah, Robert wrote that he's glad that I made it, that the community is happy that I'm around. Look, if it hadn't been for the community back then, I would not have made it. I remember when I found the Cactus community around the early 2000s, like 2004, 2003. I was so poor, and I remember a friend of mine who ran the forum, who ran the SAB Cactus forum. He paid for my heating 1 year when I almost froze. That is how close the community was back then. And I will never forget it. I will take that with me until my last breath. And that is what I will always say. If it hadn't been for this community, for the plant community, I would not be here today. I would not have made it. And it's not just that. It's not just the money. It's that I had people who gave me the feeling of having a family, having someone who has my back. And at that time, I mean, I still had family at the time, but I always had a kind of complicated situation, like relationship with my father. It was always difficult. We are too similar. We didn't get along because we are too similar. And today I regret it, But I spent a large part of feeling like I'm alone, and finding these friends, a place where you belong, played a big part in my life that I kind of got to where I am today. It would not have happened if I hadn't been able to go online and talk to all these people and talk about, hey, I'm feeling really down today, or hey guys, I had a success today. These little things that make us get out of bed every day, that give us hope to live another day. If I hadn't had that, I would not be here today, and I still need it today. Even now, my life is still difficult right now, and I still feel that love from the community that has lifted me up to here, to where I am now. And yeah, I just hope I can give back. I mean, I've tried my whole life to kind of repay the favor, and I hope when one day, when my time comes, that people will talk nicely about me, like that I created chances, that I didn't like knock down the ladder behind me, that kind of stuff. That's what I always talk about. Like when I'm talking about, I always try to, the cactus groups that we made, when we created them, it was always about also creating a place to sell, creating a place where people could go and sell and afford the hobby. And at the time, it was already difficult with eBay. eBay has always made it hard to sell these kinds of cacti, and that's why we created the Facebook groups. And I always wanted to have that place where people find the platform, because at the time it didn't feel like there was enough platform for them. Today there are so many different options to sell, so it has become a little bit easier. But it's still a lot of problems, like with payment processors that kind of cause problems because they don't like a certain kind of cactus, that kind of stuff. There are always these roadblocks in the way, and I always tried creating opportunities, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. For example, I had always hoped that more people go to the groups, like where we can feature a new creator every month or every few months. And we tried to do it, but it wasn't working. The first guy who I asked, he wouldn't get back to me for for months. He said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And then he was constantly avoiding me. So I stopped. So at some point we stopped trying to showcase certain profiles in the group, but we tried it for a while, because it was always kind of hard to make a living in that kind of lifestyle. Yeah, Robert saying he's had also conflicts with his dad. Look, today I regret every angry word that I said to my father. And at the same time, I might do it again. Like if I would be in the past again, I might do it again because it wasn't that it wasn't justified, you know? I was angry because I grew up in a household where there were constant arguing, constant, like, I don't know, my father was always absent and he was always looking for something out in the world, but never at home with us, you know? And I kind of took that personally. I was so disappointed and heartbroken. And at the same time, I realized that I don't know, he is just like that. Sometimes people cannot show feelings, and the way he was raised, my father was raised in a very complicated household. The household my father grew up in, it was like I'm not sure if you have watched The Sopranos, but the way I saw The Sopranos and Tony's mother, the way the dysfunctional family that Tony had, like with his crazy mother, that was very similar to how my father grew up. My grandmother was a very loving grandmother, but I had heard very, very difficult stories from my father and from my family, how my father grew up. So I kind of judged my father too harshly because I just saw it the way it, you know, I looked at other people and how they grew up, and I saw all that loving family life that they had, and I wanted to have that too. But my father just couldn't do it. He was just, he didn't get a lot of love growing up, you know, from his mom. And I'm not saying she was a bad person, you know. People are complicated, they have mental issues, you know, and she had a lot of that too. I think I only knew her like as the good grandmother, but at that time it was already through the worst, you know. So my father had it hard growing up, and I was judging him too harshly. Today I know that, you know, but we still can't talk like that. We are still at a point where we talk. If I need help, I can ask him, and he will help. But I always wanted to have a father figure, someone who just takes me aside and is a mentor to me, tells me all these things about life. I always wanted someone to tell me about life and how to go through life, how to go through all the difficult phases of life. And I never had that. My father figures often were people that I randomly met, you know, and it kind of made me the way I am too, you know. I'm emotionally distant today because I didn't get that so much at home, you know. And yeah, I wish it would have been different. But on the other hand, now looking back at the way I turned out, I can't say that I'm much different today. I mean, I'm emotionally absent. I can't. That is why my marriage fell apart too. You know, I had to build up all these walls to protect me. You know. Yeah, and I don't know. We always judge our parents, and when we get older, we look back at all these situations and we see it differently. Today, I regret a lot of things that I did when I was younger. I always thought I knew everything, you know, but life is complicated and people have all these nuances. People aren't born good or bad, you know. Our upbringing has a lot to do with how we are, how we live, and how much love we are able to give out to other people. I don't know. I always wanted to have someone I could talk with, like when I do not know if what I do in life is the right thing or the wrong thing. You know, we always make our decisions based on on our moral compass, but I always had hope that I have a mentor in times where I felt really lonely, you know. But on the other hand, now today, I understand him a lot better. Yeah, look, I learned a lot in life. I've grown a lot. Just in the last 5 years, I've grown a lot. Maybe 5 years ago, I was living a different life. I was having more arguments, you know, I was arguing about cacti on Facebook, that kind of stuff, like that petty kind of hobby drama. And now I'm at a point in life where I walked away from all that. I'm now at a point in my life where I just try to be happy. I just try to live a happy life. And I try to, when I do my videos, or when I do these videos, like right now, I try to somehow talk about these things, because I know a lot of people feel that too, you know. A lot of people come from complicated households. They haven't had it easy in life, and I try to be here. I try to listen, try to be what I would have needed in the world, you know. And that is something that I've only thrived to become in the last 5-10 years, because I realized I have a obligation. I kind of have a responsibility too, now that people look up to me. There are people who kind of have taken what I said to heart, and it has affected their lives. And I want to do them justice, you know. I want to live my life in a way that does all these people who believe in me justice. That is the reason why you will never see me on social media ranting and posting hateful stuff, just putting out anger in the world, because I believe all the energy that we put out, people will channel it back to us. People will pick it up. And even if it gets you success on social media, you know, like right now, you could be successful just posting like that clickbait, rage inducing kind of content. You can get rich from that. But in the end, you will sit on your throne of ashes, you know. You will look back at some point on the life that you lived, on what you created, on what you left behind, and it will be nothing. People will not mourn you. They will talk about you in a way like you never lived. And I had one of these health scares a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, where I felt like this might be it. And how did you live your life? And I wasn't happy with my answer. So I tried to do better. And since then, I've been succeeding. Since then, my life has become better. I mean, I'm now, like, my marriage broke nonetheless. You know, it didn't save me from the broken marriage, but I think the way my marriage was, we just didn't come through all that, what we had with Snoopy. We lost our dog, and it was so painful for us. It felt like we were losing a child a little bit. I mean, it's not the same. Don't get me wrong. I'm not someone who compares losing a child to losing a pet. But the way we loved Snoopy, we loved him dearly. And when we lost him, it scarred us so bad. We kind of hated each other for still being here, you know, for losing him. And I guess that is why my marriage kind of broke, you know. So yeah, just trying to, I don't know, to use the platform that I have in a positive way, and whatever that is, I'm not even limited to that. I just try to do the right thing, and long term, I would see I'm constantly evolving. You see it with the live chat now that we're having. We're talking now, just having a conversation with the community. And I want to continue doing that. I'm sure if I continue this, I will get that loyal base of people whose life I can really, who I can really reach in a positive way, not in a way where I just try to go viral. You know, I don't. That's not something that plays a role to me anymore, because I went viral with everything. At some point, I had like a reach of 270 million on Instagram, and it didn't make me happy, not at all. It didn't make me rich. It could have made me rich if I would have started to promote random like products, that kind of stuff, you know. But it's not the kind of thing that makes you happy. It's not the kind of thing that makes you proud, that makes you happy when you get up in the morning, you know. So yeah, that is why I kind of changed the way I do things now. I'm now on Instagram. I'm posting my stuff. I try to, I don't know, I try to be known for who I am, and that is all. If they don't want to let my posts go viral, that is okay. It's their right. It's their platform. But it doesn't mean that I'm not succeeding at what I'm trying to do. I have so much success. I have success every day when people message me. When people message me to tell me they love what I do. When they tell me they really felt something that I wrote. Like every now and then I write something insightful that really connected with them. That is the kind of stuff that where I feel like I'm fulfilling my debt that I have back to the community, back to the people who had my back at some point and who will probably always have it. If I were in a situation today where I needed help, like I recently talked about Kami and the way I might have to fund the surgery for her, something like that, you know, vet bills, and people were messaging me to offer money to support her, you know, to support me, and that, in my opinion, is power. Power isn't like I mean, of course, you know, the billionaires in the world, they can do everything, but look at them now. Look at how people think about them when it's not about money. You know, how people talk about them, their opinion about a lot of these billionaires, like and about their character. You know, when people just judge you for your character. And I know maybe it's a naive way to see the world. I know that, you know, maybe it is why I'm currently not doing well financially, you know, and I see that, but I also see that I get so many nice messages that I wouldn't get otherwise, that I deserve because people see that I'm kind of a good person somewhere, because people see I'm trying, you know. Hey, I'm really sorry. Someone wrote that they lost their cat, and I'm really sorry. I feel for that. Kami is 16 now, getting 17 next year. So I really feel that Kami has been part of my life, and I have never been so unhappy as I was like in the last year when she wasn't doing so well. Kami is doing a little bit better now, but at some point I might lose her, and it's the most painful thing that I've experienced in a while, and it's even worse than my marriage falling apart. It is really one of the hardest things that I ever experienced. So I'm sorry. I really, my condolences. I really feel for that, you know. I'm dead, you know, because you can have everything. You can be successful at your job. You can have everything, but this stuff will hurt you so bad. I understand. I understand. I have these moments every day where I think about it. Going out with Kami every day right now, because I feel like she might not see another summer. So we're going out every sunny day just so she can see a little bit more of nature, can have a little bit more joy in life, you know. And I don't know, this life is just difficult. Everything we love, every animal we have, we will lose it. And I have so problems dealing with that kind of loss. I will never get used to it. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people can harden up about that, you know. It has hurt me so bad. But yeah. Yeah, Robert saying he'd rather be a good person than bad rich person. Yes. But it would be great if you know the good people were able to have a good life and a basic happy life too, you know. It's kind of, I see, you know, the people that are successful in business, that are billionaires, they are often billionaires because they have a different way of thinking, you know. They're thinking about themselves. It needs to have a certain mindset to be financially, to exceed financially, and I see that it can be a positive thing too. But I also see that kind of lack of like that emotional intelligence that sometimes is important, that I consider important in life. I consider emotional intelligence to be one of the most important factors when I judge a character, because it tells you a little bit about someone. Because people who do not have emotional intelligence, they are not able to think how someone else feels or how an animal feels. Like people who are mean to animals, they are not able to think about how it is to be on the other side. And that is a kind of intelligence that is also necessary, that's also important, you know. So in my worldview, emotional intelligence is probably one of the biggest factors. It's probably my biggest strength, that I'm so emotional that I feel like I can pick up emotions in other people, that I kind of feel what they feel. And it can be an immense strength, but it also makes you so vulnerable. It makes you so hurt sometimes. It makes me so hurt with Kami, because I feel like I can feel what Kami is kind of feeling, like when you feel their body is failing, when you know. And Kami has loved Snoopy so much, the beagle that we had. And when we lost Snoopy, we let her experience it, you know, because they always recommend that you let them see that they have passed away, and we did that, and it hurt me so much. And I feel it has hurt her too. Today she is still searching for that friendly kind of beagle that we have. And Mika, we now have another dog, and she is a different kind of breed, you know. She has so much energy, she wants to play and play fetch. And it's so different to how Snoopy was. And I often feel that she misses him, that she really misses him. She smells the old stuff that he had. And it's so heartbreaking, you know? And yeah. So I am able to pick that up in Kami. Those feelings that they have, that animals have to say, have feelings too, you know? And so it's also something that can hurt you very bad, and I sometimes wish I didn't have it. But then again, I believe that me being successful has a lot to do with that kind of strength to just connect with emotion, with raw emotion. That is a large part of why I'm here today. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes with Kami. Maybe she has a few more years. I hope she has. And I'm currently kind of forgetting about myself, you know, because I constantly hear that she needs help. Like when she is up at night, I'm instantly awake, and I try to make sure that if she doesn't eat all the time, I don't know if she has low blood sugar or something like that. If she doesn't eat all the time, she kind of starts feeling bad, you know. So I always have to make sure she's constantly eating every few hours, and I kind of forget myself about that. So yeah, but I can't change it. I can't change who I am at this point. I'm either going down with this ship or I'm succeeding with it. It's just that. There's no plan B. I'm too old to change. I don't want to change because if I'm the type of person, I regret stuff, you know. And if I'm not fully here now, in 5 years from now, if I lose her, after I lose her, I would hate myself, you know. So I try to kind of be here now, be present, and give everything I can. And because otherwise, I know that I might not be able to live with myself in 5 or 10 years from now. So even if I still be here, I would not like my life, you know. So I try to live without regrets. I said sorry to everyone that I was still in contact, that I hurt. I did all these things in the last years where I just said sorry. Where I said sorry to someone where I had argument like 10 years ago. These kinds of things, they really matter to me now. Because I also felt like I'm in my last phase of my life, you know? Like I've reached that part of my life where it really matters, where it really is important what I do now. So I try to be here now, be present, and do things right now. We all make mistakes, and I made so many mistakes, and now I try to correct them. We can't always, you know. I try to fix things with my parents, try to fix things with friends, with old friends. Just yesterday, I lost a friend, you know, who has been with me for many years, and I was glad that I have made everything right in the time we were in contact. Because sometimes it is like that. You know, we always think people will always be there and suddenly they are gone. So I try to make things right now. We never know how much time we have. And with me, the way I lived, I'm not seeing myself becoming very old. I feel I am already very old emotionally. I've just lived through hard times, you know, and it makes you age so much faster. And yeah, in the next months, I have a few more talks that I want to have with people where I've been, you know, just I don't know, just saying sorry, you know. Someone wrote that he's going hunting, and I have more camo than him. Look, I'm not one of the people who walks around in camo all of the time, but I like it every now and then. I just like the look. I don't know. I was a weird kid. I liked that kind of stuff. Today, it's a little bit less. You know, it's not. I'm not that kind of person who wears camo and the black sunglasses and all that. I'm not like that, but I just like it. I don't know. This is a great jacket. It is super comfortable. It is warm, and I've had it for a few years, you know. So, but I know what you mean. There's a certain kind of like people that wear this kind of stuff, and I'm aware of it. I even thought about like taking it out before the stream, but then I thought, oh man, that I still have the shirt on I wore yesterday. Then I would have to wear another shirt, and I just wanted to go online and have that stream now, in case someone comes over to fix the window later. So yeah, it just happened. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. It isn't easy growing up, and today, like with the last years have flown by. I like with Kami and Snoopy and Mika. I still remember when I picked up Kami from the animal pond. I got her from the animal pond, and it feels like it was just a few years ago, and it's now 16, 17 years ago. So time flies, and I actually didn't want to have another dog after Snoopy because I'm aware that it brings you right back to that cycle of loving an animal, and then when you lose it again, it is so bad. But yeah, it just happened, and it might have saved my life that Mika was around at that time. Having a job, having something to do in life is important. Having a reason to be there, some kind of mission in life. And Mika, we got her from an animal rescue organization. So that was a dog who would have otherwise been living in a cage somewhere in a poorer country, that she just needed a home, and I had one. I didn't even think about that long term, like that it would also mean I'm back in the same cycle of at some point losing another dog. But it just happened. I was suddenly that I saw that there's a dog that needs a home, and we took her in. And then she might have saved my life later when my wife moved out. And I'm currently thinking about getting a cat, so Kami isn't alone. So Kami just has a little bit of company too, like a cat company. But I'm scared that then I have another cat that I will lose again, at some point. So I'm not sure. But I have seriously considered getting another cat for Kami, so she gets to experience another cat, because we have an alone cat now with me and the dog, and I would love to have another one. But then I'm back in, you with a cat. I don't want to have a cat that's only indoors. I find it's also important to show her that there's a life out, that there's nature out there. And it takes so much work to take a cat and go out with her without having her roam around freely. Because where I live, you can't let a cat roam around without losing her. We have a street downstairs that is so dangerous that the neighbor's cat only got 1 year old. Because that street is so dangerous. It is the kind of street like in the movie Pet Sematary. So if I get another cat, I need to make sure that I go out with her also, like I do with Kami. So she's not just locked up indoors, and that is so difficult. Having a cat and also allowing her to see the outdoors, because they are so fast. They run away and you haven't seen her. Kami has run away like just a few in summer, and she was gone for half a day, and it was so difficult, because they wouldn't make it very long here. So many hunters here that are also not, that would also that wouldn't be above hurting a cat, So I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't want to have her roam around, and I also wouldn't want her to be inside all the time. Dave asking if I think when I pass, if my pets are waiting for me. I don't think so. I don't see life like that. But I believe whatever made us, all these particles, like these God particles that people talk about, like I think life breaks down on a cellular level, on an atom kind of level. I'm not smart, don't get me wrong. I can't explain that in a way that it makes sense in science, but I believe that life, that the miracle that made us, like what made us special and unique, it is still there in the world. We break down again in all these tiny particles that continue to be around in nature. We are still part of this whole ecosystem. But I don't believe there's something after this. I fear this might be it. That is why I believe making the most out of our life might be important. I mean, it would be great to believe in something like that there's a life after. But I don't think we are that lucky. You know, I don't think we are that lucky. I wish, you know. But I really believe that life is something that we don't understand, you know, and when we when we die, it is also nothing leaves permanently, you know, like maybe our character is gone, the way we talked, our body, but on some kind of level, we are still part of everything, you know. Like when you look in the sky and you kind of see like the beauty of it, and like you feel like you are still connected to relatives that you had, like people you lost, you know, that kind of stuff, where you still like you see the miracles in the world, and you still see that whoever you lost is still part of it. Oh. Just need a moment. It's been a lot. It's been rough lately. So I'm sorry. I just needed a moment. Like I said, I'm a really kind of an emotional person, and I kind of sometimes it takes over. So yeah. I don't know. No, it's just I lost people I loved, you know. And I miss them. I miss them a lot, you know. I grew up with loss. Like some of the first things that I experienced in life was loss. Losing people I loved. And it's been a theme in my life. Losing people I loved, and I would love to see them again. But I don't think it will happen, you know. But I kind of feel that when you look into the sky, when you sit there, and when you enjoy a beautiful evening, when you have a great time with friends, when you feel loved, we kind of carry something with us, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just an emotional guy. I've been having a lot of, I don't know, my nerves aren't the best anymore, and like I said, my emotions sometimes kind of take over, and it's nothing that I can plan. Sometimes I'm just I do everything that I do. I live with my feelings. My feelings have carried me through my heart, and when I do something, when I succeed, it is because I'm so emotional, because I'm able to bring my emotions into what I do. I'm able to kind of produce great moments, you know. If it's like when I'm doing a time-lapse video and I put in a song that I really care about, when I combine two things and I create that feeling of connectedness, and then it works in my favor, but sometimes it hurts me, you know. Like I get these moments, I'm okay, I'm over it now, you know. But I just have that kind of no filter kind of thing, and sometimes I carry so much hurt with me. That's always been part of me, that made me who I am, you know. And it changes you, but also for the good. This is, of course, the kind of stuff that some people see as a weakness, but it's also the kind of thing that makes me, like, when I talk with someone in a room, like I make friends when I am with someone. I can sit there and have a chat, have a drink with someone, and we connect on an emotional level, because emotion is everything for me. It is what gets me out of bed in the morning, and it is what kind of makes me succeed. And I can't turn one thing off and be someone else, you know. I can't like create emotional stuff, be emotional in my work, in my art, and not be an emotional person. I can't put a distance between it. And I also don't want to, I don't want to stop talking about, I don't want to stop talking about like these kinds of things, because it is important for me. You know, it's the kind of stuff that I believe outweighs even my cactus stuff. Like people, the kind of messages that I get about cacti are one thing, but the most messages that I get is because a lot of people see me as a person, and something I do or say kind of touches something in them, like deep inside, something that we often have locked away, you know. So I can't be one without the other. So I'm sorry if I just, you know, if I have one of these emotional moments where I just lost a lot of people, and most of the time you kind of have it under control, but every now and then when you talk about it the way I do on an emotional level, it kind of overtakes you like a wave, and that is something that is also why I will succeed, and I know it. You know, that is also why I could, like, some people see that as a weakness when you are sometimes emotional like I am. But I think it's a very simple way to see life, because so much of life is about loss. So much of life is about feelings, about being like, we are such social creatures, you know. We succeed because we are social creatures, because we are because of what we are, you know. We aren't made to be lonely, to be, we are made to form these bonds and all, and I am just like that, you know. So yeah, look, I'm sorry I kind of lost it for a moment, but it's okay. I've have it under control again, and my battery is also dying again. Like, I have a few percentages left on the battery, so I think I will end the stream, get back to, like, you know, getting back to, like, getting myself back together so I can fix the bathroom window, and tomorrow we're doing a little bit more like grounded stream again. But I can tell you, these kinds of moments will happen when I'm on air. I will not be able to turn it off. It is why people look up to me sometimes. It's why people appreciate what I do, because I don't want to be like change. I don't want to make an impression of what I am not, you know. I'm just how I am. It is who I am, and it's part of everything. Can't do one without the other. So yeah, but thank you for having that emotional moment here with me, for accepting it, like taking me the way I am. And tomorrow we're starting fresh, you know. And yeah, it was fun. I like to talk about deep emotions and all that. Just sometimes, last 2 years have been so rough on me, and so every now and then it happens. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm gonna go offline. Thank every one of you for commenting, for being here. Tomorrow morning I'll be here again, okay? And we have another chat. I loved this, even if it made the impression I was having a bad time. I was not. I still enjoyed it. So thank you guys. We'll see each other again tomorrow. Take care, friends. Yes, you too, Robert.